Please welcome your nominee for Lieutenant Governor, Mike Collier.
Thank you very much. Well, good evening, my fellow Democrats. I'm Mike Collier, your nominee for Lieutenant Governor, and I'm going to kick Dan Patrick's ass. Now, you going to help me? Will you help me? All right. Now, you know the Lieutenant Governor is the most powerful lawmaker in Texas, and for 8 years, Dan Patrick has treated our state as a stage for his political theater, sowing division, pitting Texans against other Texans. Well, in November, we're going to tell Dan the show is over, right? Dan Patrick wants you to hate your fellow Texan. Dan Patrick wants you to turn your back on your neighbor instead of having your back. Dan Patrick says what's wrong with Texas is you. No, sir. There's nothing wrong with Texas that we can't fix in November, right? You know, I grew up in Georgetown, Texas. I'm old enough. That's back when cattle outnumbered people. If your neighbor's barn caught on fire, you just put it out. You didn't ask if they watched CNN or Fox News. Well, I've lived in Texas for almost 50 years. My wife, Suzanne, and I have been married here for over 30 years. I raised my boys in Texas, ran my business in Texas. I now have a beautiful granddaughter in Texas. I know, and you know, that Texas is so much bigger and so much greater than Dan Patrick's small-minded politics, right? We tamed the West. We put a man on the moon. We're the energy capital of the world. But thanks to Dan Patrick's corruption, we can't even keep the lights on. You know, Texans froze, Texans died, and still Dan Patrick puts profits over people. That ain't just corruption, folks. That's deadly corruption, and it's time we throw some scoundrels out. I've worked in the energy industry for decades. From landman to leader in the energy revolution, I know that Texas can either drive the energy transition or we can be the laggard. I say Texas must lead the energy revolution, and Dan Patrick stands in our way. When I'm your lieutenant governor, let me tell you this, we're going to fix the damn grid. And we're not going to stop there. Our schools have been left in the dark. If Dan Patrick gets another term, he's already told us, he's coming after your school and he's coming after your teacher. He wants to privatize and profitize our public schools. As Lieutenant Governor, I will lead the legislature to amend our Constitution to ban forever private school vouchers. You know why? Because vouchers are for vultures. How many more teachers are going to quit with tears in their eyes because they love their students, but they cannot stand the way they're being attacked by the state? Dan Patrick doesn't care if your class is too big. He doesn't care if your pay doesn't add up. He doesn't care if your retirement probably won't be there. He doesn't even care that teachers fear for their lives. As Lieutenant Governor, I will protect our schools with sensible gun safety and other steps so that teachers can teach and children can learn. You see, my grandmother was a teacher in a small country school, and my whole growing up, people would come up to me and they'd say, "Mike, your grandmother changed my life." That's what teachers do, is change people's lives. Our teachers, our cherished teachers, are our neighbors, our friends, our sons, our daughters, our nieces, our nephews, and they change young people's lives. That's why, as your Lieutenant Governor, I will fight to make sure that we have the best public schools in the nation. And it ain't just a promise, it's a plan. Now, let me tell you how we're going to do it. Here's how we're going to do it. While you and I are slammed by exploding property taxes, Dan Patrick has carved out massive loopholes for his corporate donors. Texas families and small businesses pay more in taxes so that the corporations can pay less. Come November, we're going to make Dan Patrick pay. As Lieutenant Governor, I'll close those loopholes so the corporations get back to paying their fair share, and we'll use that money to fund public education. Dan Patrick's property tax ripoff that hurts your bank account and starves your school ends now. Because right now in Texas, our taxes are too high and our freedoms are in trouble. For 8 years, Dan Patrick has chiseled away at our freedom, taking a hammer to rights that we thought were set in stone. He wrote and passed the most restrictive abortion laws in the nation that have banned all abortions in Texas, even in cases of rape and incest. He sentenced countless women to their death. That's the immense power of the Lieutenant Governor. When I'm sworn in as Lieutenant Governor, we'll use that power to codify Roe v. Wade. And I'll carry that bill over to the governor's mansion, where it will be signed by Governor Beto O'Rourke to become the law of the land. And then I'll watch with great admiration as my friend Attorney General Rochelle Garza enforces it. You know, my friends, just imagine when Dan Patrick is a distant memory of a very, very bad dream. Won't it be nice to wake up from this nightmare? When the most powerful lawmaker in the state is someone who builds us up rather than tears us down. We are more than just Democrats. We're more than just Republicans. We're Americans. We're Texans. And we'll work hand in hand to build a state where our children can dream as big as Texas. There has never, ever been more at stake. There's a tremendous sense of urgency to protect our freedom, like the freedom to vote. Right? And the freedom to know that your vote counts. And for LGBT Texans, the freedom to live and love as you wish in freedom. And for women, the freedom to control your body and your health care and your destiny. My friends, it's the love that we have for one another. It's the compassion that we know still lives in every Texan's heart. It's for freedom and democracy that we must pass on to our children. It's for these that we are Democrats. It's for these that when we leave here, we'll put our backs into it. It's for these that we will rise to the towering heights of the great Texas Democrats that came before us. Lyndon Johnson, Barbara Jordan, Ann Richards. And when we win, we will enjoy a renaissance of freedom and democracy and civility in Texas, and it will be said of us to the latest generation that Texas Democrats answered the call. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.